Welcome to this video, which will show you how to use the Assessment Review and Analysis and Development Plan form. So it's really great to see that you're watching this video. I can tell that you must be interested in developing your academic performance, and you're making the first step to achieving your aims and goals. So first of all, you've got your area here to put your name, date and year and level. So I'm just going to do that quickly here for you. Okay, so we've got that filled in now, and the first step really is to start thinking about where do you want to be. So thinking about what your goals are and what you're looking to achieve. So I've just put in the table here, aims for a year, and this is your opportunity to write what is important to you, what are you looking to achieve. So it's going to be different for all of our students. Let's put what my aims are going to be in here. So here I've put my aim here is to achieve the 2-1, moving from an average of 57 to somewhere in the 60s. So now I know where I want to be, what I'm looking to achieve. I really need to start thinking about, okay, well, where am I now? What's my reality? What are my marks that I've had already, for example. So you've got two areas here that you can complete. You've got area for semester 1 marks here, where assuming you've got 3 modules and then you can put your average mark here. You might have more, you might have less modules depending on the program that you're studying. You can add columns or delete them as you wish. So you might be looking at this as a review process for something at the end of a semester, moving into your next semester, or you might be doing it at the end of the year, moving into your next year. So it's entirely up to you. I'm going to use for the example just one semester. We've just finished semester 1. So let's put the information in that I've got here. So I've got to put my module title in and the grades that I've got. So here you go. I've popped my 3 modules in here with my grades and the average mark here as well. So that's something that you'll be able to do yourself. Average, obviously, just add them up and divide by how many modules you've got. So divide by 3 here in this example. So to get my marks, if you just need a reminder, you just go back onto ATS2 and you'll be able to access that information here. But now what we need to do is really find out what the feedback was on each of your modules. So I'm going to encourage you to go to ATS2 and access each of your feedback forms. Okay, so I've copied across the feedback in that first column on my feedback sheet. Sometimes feedback sheets look a little bit different, but generally most of them look the same. So I've copied it across. I can change my bullet points if I want to as well. But I'm just taking the key things from the strengths, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing with my areas for development, which is on the right-hand column under feed forward. So here you go, I've transferred my areas for development from the feed forward here. Now if I've got 3 modules, then I would encourage you to do it for each of the 3. So you've got everything all in one place. And then you can start to do some deeper, further analysis, which is next area. So this is all around where am I now? So looking at that feedback sheet in a little bit more detail. So as you can see, I've taken time to have a look at the feedback that I've received, looking at the criteria, looking at the areas for development above here as well, and I've also had a look at to see if there's any sort of trends within the criteria as well. So the kind of key things that I've been able to identify from the feedback sheets and the annotations, etc., has been this. So let me just transfer it across. So as you can see here, it's clear that analysis, evaluation and synthesis criteria remains in the 50s consistently. There's a high proportion of marks in that area, so this is really an area that I'm going to need to concentrate on. And by looking at those individual criteria, it's really easy to pinpoint where my strengths and areas for development are. I've also noticed that actually overall I score better on presentations. So some of us do, some of us score better on written work. And you might just sort of kind of identify those trends. And I've noticed that actually references always mentioned. So the first and last point are really the areas that I'm going to need to work on to be able to meet that overall aim of reaching in my next lot of marks into the 60s. So now I've got to start thinking about, so we know what we want to achieve. Now we know what the current situation is in terms of marks, and now I need to start thinking about, okay, what have I got to do to develop? So we've started doing that here, but now it's really time to start putting strong actions. Some of you have come across SMART actions: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Really important to work towards over the semester to reach those aims. So I'm going to fill this in now for you to demonstrate how this could work. Okay, so now you can see actually there's a lot been filled in here. So I've put a number of different actions to help me to get to where I want to get to. So really focusing on that evaluation, analysis, synthesis criteria. So I've said I'm going to compare and contrast what's required in the criteria. So on those feedback sheets, I'm going to be looking at what's the difference between those 50s and 60s marks of what I've got to do. And then I'm going to take time to discuss those with the course leader. Now, I think I'd also benefit from thinking about what other resources are available to help me. So I'm going to think about the Academic Skills Centre. So there's a lovely critical thinking e-learning course in there that I could take. Also, we're always thinking about how I can develop in terms of knowledge. So also looking at what books have we got available on critical thinking, and access ebooks from Open Athens as well, which means you can access anything for free at any time of the day. Also, always think about when you're reviewing what you need to do to improve, is thinking about how do I make the most of my tutorial. So the next time I have a tutorial of my course tutor, then I'll be asking them to really focus on developing your critical thinking skills, so that analysis, evaluation, synthesis within those sessions, so I make the most of it rather than spending time, for example, on just looking at SPAG. Because referencing also came up, I'm going to book an appointment with a learning resource advisor. So again, always think about who is out there that can help me in the library, so you can review the reference list. And I'll probably study the Harvard Referencing e-learning module in the Academic Skills Centre as well. So I've just summarised the support that I need from staff. So I've got course leader, module tutors, library, Academic Skills Centre. What's really important to do is, with any SMART action plan, is to make sure that they're time bound, that you've got set yourself a deadline to work towards. Now you can put complete by the end of the semester, but it's actually really quite difficult to pinpoint each of those actions deadlines. So actually I'd recommend that you actually put dates. You might want to put them beside each of those actions. So I might say that I want to do that in 2 weeks' time. Whereas I might say the studying the Academic Skills Centre, I might want a little bit longer for that, and I put that period of time. So actually what I'd really encourage you to do is put dates or weeks, however you want to do it, against each of those actions, and then you might have one generic one. What you might find is if you don't put shorter dates, it's harder to work towards, and it's all really good to practice to have those quick wins and tick things off your list, so you know that you are gradually developing over time as well. And then you've got an area for update or notes. You can use and you can change any of these columns on any of the forms to suit you. That's entirely up to you. So really that is the form then completed. Now you can share that with your course leader, which I encourage you to do, or you might want to keep it to yourself. I think sometimes it's useful to be able to share those, and it's also really important to make sure that you evaluate and review on a regular basis. So those dates that you put in at the end here, and what I need to do to get to where I want to be, making sure that those dates, if you put something in for 2 weeks, pop a notification in your diary, on your calendar, on your phone, set notifications, etc. Something that will help you remember to do this, so it's not just a document that just gets stored on your laptop and you never look at it again. So this is a level 6 feedback sheet, so it should be fairly familiar to you. You've got your course information here, and then you've got your feedback and feed forward here. So usually feedback is this side is usually includes the strengths, and the feed forward is your areas that you can consider for developing further. So what I'm going to do is encourage you to copy and paste your feedback and your feed forward into those areas on your form. Do that for all of your modules, so you can just have a little look down, and when you do your further analysis shortly, you'll be able to look for trends, similarities, differences for you to consider working on. So I've got a number of different areas there, so I'm just going to do that. And obviously the other area that you can look at is this grading criteria. Now this grading criteria is where us as markers will look at where we feel that you sit, and we will usually highlight different lecturers might work a little bit differently, your area that you work in for each of the areas that you'll be marked in. So as you can see here, this student's got 11 out of 20 and falls in the 50s bracket here under knowledge and on analysis, evaluation and synthesis, whereas other areas they score higher in the 60s. So now I would be looking to see if there's any trends across the different criteria across all of my modules, to see if there's core areas for development. Now 40% of my marks are based on analysis, evaluation and synthesis, or synthesis. So that's a key area for me to start thinking about, because it's a big points earner and it's my one of my lower areas for marking. So hopefully this will give you a really good idea on what to look out for that deeper analysis. So we'll get that transferred. So I hope this helps. I wish you all the best with it. If you need any help, always you're welcome to email me at the Academic Skills Centre.